The Victorian Heart Hospital is Australia's first hospital dedicated to cardiac care. There's a significant need in our country, 1 in 4 deaths related to cardiac disease, and so we do need to do something about this. The building is home to a world-leading research team that were previously squeezed into a woefully undersized and poorly equipped department in a larger hospital. So it takes them out of that space into a dedicated facility. This is Dr. Ian Meredith, the Melbourne surgeon who was the first to implant a replaceable heart valve without open heart surgery. That was over 10 years ago, and that procedure is now performed across the world, so really Melbourne achievement. The building is located on the west edge of the Clayton campus. You can see it there. It's sort of set in a green space, which is quite unique for a Melbourne hospital. It has a this sort of side of the sports fields. There's a lot of Australian native trees, and there's a track through this remnant wetland at the top. It's also at the centre of what is becoming a really significant biomedical precinct in Melbourne, with the suburban rail loop and the proposed development around the campus. This will, in fact, it is already the largest employment cluster outside the CBD, and there's lots more potential again. This is Sarah Williams-Goldhagen. She's author of Walk Into Your World. She looks at cognitive psychology and neuroscience to understand how the built environment affects our lives. So we actually began this project with a very large workshop, lots of stakeholders, with Sarah telling us about how we can transform the lived experience of this particular building. In thinking about our work with Sarah, we called this medicinal garden from the University of Padua, which dates from 1545, and we proposed a circular courtyard in this building. You can see that other than the circular garden, this is a very rectilinear, efficient building, and these are the very real drivers that we need to work with when we're working with the VHBA in these large health projects. So the circular courtyard is described, in fact, by 2 half circles. And we have a screen that protects the interior from the western sun, and this courtyard is central to the experience of the building. And it sort of leads back out to the sports fields that you can see there. It's a very simple arrangement. At ground floor we have the reception spaces and the ambulatory services, so this is sort of outpatients and clinics. Very unique to this hospital, we have a floor dedicated to research. And then above that, there are 2 floors dedicated to clinical, and then above that, 3 floors of patient wards. And so this antigenic research and clinical is particularly significant. Ground floor plan here, you can see set in green, you can see the extent of trees around the circular courtyard. Patient drop-off is at the bottom edge of the screen, and we've managed to get the majority of the car parking in basement level, so we've retained that green foreground to the building. Here we've just stepped inside the front door, so a very direct line of sight to the main reception, but you can also see right through to the courtyard space, and that becomes this orienting device regardless of where you are in the building. There's a very light, bright interior, and the palette refers to natural tones when they can. This strategy of connecting to outside is deployed throughout the group. And so I'll describe them as I take you through the other levels. This is the research level, so lots of laboratory space, lots of research space, and teaching and learning space as well. This is Olive Brooks, and she has fabricated that artificial heart that she's holding in her hand. So she's a biomedical engineering student, and she's recently been to the international competition to share this work. This fellow here is Jeff Allison, and he's invented another device that has become a global model of care. So this is the kind of groundbreaking research that is happening in this building. Above that research floor are 2 clinical floors. So the first level are these catheter laboratories and catheter theatres, and these are spaces where they do these less invasive procedures that, so we're not talking about open heart surgery, we're talking about perhaps inserting a heart valve through an artery, and it's usually done when the patient is awake and sedated. So they're much less, they're more advanced, less invasive procedures that actually require light monitoring. They're heavily screening-based. And so once the patients come out of those spaces, they move into these recovery spaces that are naturally there to do have use out across those cancer units. The operating theatres themselves do have some natural data. Very unusual, actually, and quite difficult to achieve, but it's certainly been appreciated by the clinical staff. We see these cases to outside occur throughout those spaces. Moving up to the patient levels, we have 3 levels, each with 4 wards, nearly 200 beds in total. The patient rooms are set up so that they can be intensive care, and that means that once the patient comes out of the theatre, they go to one space, they're then moved from intensive care up to a different ward, and that's found to be much better for patient recovery. The pallet, interior pallet in these spaces is very warm and natural. They've got regular views out across those sports fields. We've managed to squeeze in a built-in window seat for a visitor or patient to use. The strategy for sustainability has been to use very efficient building services that then typically have the facade as the passive house in its approach. So we're highly insulated and air sealed. And we've also thought carefully about embodied carbon and chosen low embodied carbon materials for the facade. We have these thermal screens, weathered steel screens, around a much bigger perimeter. These are shaped to follow an echocardiogram readout related to cardiac care. These screens can span from level to level, so again they're very kind of lean in their use of material. There's 2 or 3 modules which we've used in different combinations and orientations so that this appears like a continuously varied facade. And so these terracotta facades in combination with the weathered steel present a very sort of natural palette, and they also serve to break down that large mass. And there we have it on approach to the main entry.